Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This Friday is Bellator 267. The main event is Douglas Lima versus Michael Venum Page 2, a rematch from 2019. And Douglas Lima is coming into this fight on a two-fight losing streak. He lost his welterweight title to Yaroslav Amosov back in June of 2021 at Bellator 260. Before that, he lost a middleweight shot against Gegard Mousasi. I believe it was for the vacant Bellator middleweight title. And, coming into this fight on a two-fight losing streak doesn't look that great, but I mean, he's fought everyone who has been, a decent fighter within the Bellator welterweight division and even gone up and fight Gegard Mousasi at middleweight. So those last two losses, I really don't feel like they have much weight, especially considering the type of fighter he's going up against in MVP. But throughout his Bellator career, and he's been in Bellator for, I believe, over 10 years, he's literally just fought everyone. Amoslav, Gegard Mousasi, Rory McDonald twice, Andrei Koreshkov, Lorenz Larkin, Paul Daly, Ben Askren back in the day. He's literally fought everyone within Bellator, and he's a very quality fighter. And I remember thinking going into the 2019 original fight between Douglas Lima and MVP, I just thought he had more tools. I thought he was more well-rounded, and I thought he would win that fight. And obviously he did. He won the fight by second round KO. Impressive performance. I'll talk about that more in a second. But former welterweight champion, former middleweight contender. He fought for the vacant belt against Gegard Mousasi. The guy has a very great long Bellator career, and I'm curious. Is this the time that MVP is finally going to really beat a high quality fighter? Uh, it's surprising coming into this fight because you look at their careers, you would think that Douglas Lima is the older fighter, but MVP is actually 34 years old. Douglas Lima is 33 years old. MVP has the height advantage. He's 6'3". Douglas Lima is 6'1". And MVP has a significant reach advantage, a 4.5-inch reach advantage. You look at MVP and you look at his career in MMA. He's only ever lost one time, and that was to Douglas Lima in 2019. But you look at the names on his resume, and it leaves a lot to be desired. And there's been a lot of criticism about the way Bellator has matched him up with certain fighters. Basically, they're protecting him. He's a very flashy fighter. He has a lot of crazy KOs. The flying knee KO that he had against Cyborg forever ago, where he just cracked his skull. I'll never forget the look of that X-ray. Um, and he's just been able to make these guys look like they don't even belong. But it is by no means the level of competition that Douglas Lima has fought. So that's where you kind of get into, is MVP really as good as he looks? Because the only time that he's really fought a high quality fighter was Douglas Lima, and he got KO'd. And I know he fought Paul Daly. That fight was really terrible, in my opinion. And Paul Daly's past his prime. That was back in 2019. I thought Paul Daly was past his prime. I know some people were high on him. And that was just an overall just terrible fight, if I remember correctly. But since losing to Douglas Lima, he's on a 5-fight win streak, which is pretty impressive. But again, the names: Richard Keeley, Giovanni Maleo. Half these names I don't even know. Ross Houston, Derek Anderson. The Derek Anderson fight, another flashy KO, huge head kick, busted up his nose badly. I think I was live streaming for that, and it was just a perfectly placed head kick. Anderson just leaned right into it, and then I think he quit right after it landed. I don't think he was KO'd, but his nose was so busted up he couldn't continue. In the Ross Houston fight, which I remember as well, was it showed that he was able to deal with wrestlers a little bit. He was taken down, and even in the Douglas Lima original fight, which I'll go over that entire fight here in a second. But in this Ross Houston fight, he showed he can deal with the wrestling, he can deal with fighting off of his back. And then not only that, he took Houston down a couple times as well and landed some good ground and pound. Eventually wins by decision. That's one of his very few unimpressive wins. On this 5-fight win streak, 4 of them were TKOs or KO. So that's super impressive. He's a finisher. We know his flashy striking. So in the original fight against Douglas Lima, there was maybe a minute or two in the first round where they were striking. MVP was kind of getting in and out, kicking the legs. Douglas Lima was kicking the legs. He wasn't really able to have any success with the hands. Eventually, I think he tripped MVP, took him down, but really was not successful with any ground and pound. And I know we tend to, when we have a flashy striker, we always talk about, oh, wait till they fight a wrestler. That's a common theme with any promotion, any fighter. when we have an amazing, flashy striker, regardless of the level of competition he's fighting, we always say, wait till he fights a wrestler. And Douglas Lima was able to take him down, control him, hold him down, and not really get off any damage. No submission attempts, no damage. It eventually goes to the second round. MVP wasn't able to find his way back to the feet. And Lima went on to the same strategy, just kicking the legs. That's really the only thing he had success with in that entire fight was kicking the legs. He kicks the leg, the lead leg of MVP when I think he was throwing a punch, knocks him off balance. MVP's hands are down near the mat, lands a massive uppercut and just KOs him, lands some ground and pound. The referee pulls him off. But within that fight, I really thought Douglas Lima was really going to dominate him easier than he did. And I know a second round KO with little to no strikes landed on him. I think MVP landed like a 1-2 at one point in time and kind of stung Douglas Lima. But I really think that's all he really landed. And I really expected Lima to do better. I thought he would be more impressive, especially when he got him down. I thought he'd be able to beat him up. And he wasn't. And now we're 2 years later. I believe MVP has probably worked on his defensive wrestling. I mean, he already shown that he's able to negate people off his back. Maybe he's not throwing up submissions. Maybe he's not, getting up off his back, but he's able to not suffer any damage when a guy's on top of him, controlling him. Showed it in multiple fights. And I think that in this fight, we're going to see, it has MVP evolved. I know he's talked about he wants to move to the UFC eventually, which is kind of controversial. The Bellator has done a good job building him up as a star. We know what his strengths are. He wants to stay on the feet. He has the hands down low. He wants to land combinations, look for flashy strikes, whether it be a flying knee, head kick. And he does great at getting in and out, closing the distance on fighters, landing strikes. But we know he's, and I talk about this with many of fighters. When you keep your hands that low, it's dangerous. You're bound to get caught at some point in time, whether it be in a scramble, whether it be a guy throws a punch in one of those pause reset situations and they land on your chin. And, that's basically what happened in the last fight. Leg kick knocked him off balance and he gets KO'd. Douglas Lima's coming in, couple years older, more damage on him, more, he loses 2 fights. He was dominated in the last fight against Amasav, or however you pronounce his name. And, I really think that it's either Douglas Lima takes him down and wins a boring decision, or MVP is going to win by KO. And I really debated this back and forth. I picked Douglas Lima in the first fight. I think Douglas Lima is a more well-rounded fighter. But I'm going to go with MVP by KO. I think he's going to have shored up the takedown defenses just a little bit better than it was. We know if he gets taken down, he's going to be able to negate any ground and pound on the top. He's not going to take very much damage. I don't think he's going to get submitted by Douglas Lima. And I just love, I think he has a speed advantage, and I think he has a massive striking advantage. He's just worried about the takedowns from Douglas Lima, but if his takedown defense is just a little bit better, I think he'll be able to get in and out, land strikes, and eventually find the finish against Douglas Lima. And I really think that Douglas Lima is going to come out with the same strategy. I think he's going to try to chop the legs. MVP has that wide stance, and he's kind of heavy on the lead leg a little bit. I think Lima's going to try to chop the leg, but I think that's the only thing he's going to have success with. I don't think MVP is going to overcommit. I think MVP is going to pick his strikes. I think he's going to be ready for the takedowns, and I think he's going to find something flashy, whether it be a head kick, a knee, and he's going to KO him. And even if he doesn't, the pace that he usually puts on guys, he usually dictates the pace in a fight. And I think his stamina will hold up in this fight. And I don't think it's one of those things where he's going to get exhausted. It's not like he's throwing a crazy amount of combinations or he relies on pressure to win a fight. He just gets in and out, lands strikes, and then eventually finds that knockout blow. And if he can stuff the takedowns enough from Douglas Lima, he will. I don't want to say that first fight was a fluke because I don't believe it was. But, that doesn't always you're not going to catch him out of position like that all the time and land that knockout strike. It was a great finish by Douglas Lima, but I just don't think that's going to happen again. I think Lima's going to come out, chop the legs, look for the takedown. Takedown is not going to be there. MVP, I believe he's gotten better. He's evolved more. And MVP has not taken very much damage throughout his career. I know he got knocked out the one time, but that's the only time he's lost. And in most of his fights, he's just dominating guys and finishing guys early. So I think, Lima is just a little bit more worn. I think he's been in MMA longer, I believe. He's been fighting top-tier competition for so long. I think MVP is going to find that chin, put him to sleep. I mean, his kicks are so powerful. His knees are so powerful. I believe he has a speed advantage. And I believe he's just good enough on the ground to not get finished on the ground. So I don't think that's going to happen. So I just don't see how Douglas Lima wins this fight. Maybe I'm dead wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of my prediction. Do you guys think differently? Are you watching Bellator 267? It's this Friday. I'm going to be doing a live watch along, so make sure you join me for that. Don't forget to like the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.